So you're all very welcome to this online meditation sit that we're hoping, well, we are going to be running 3 times a week, just to really help us come together in community and touch in, realizing that we're all interconnected, we're all here, we're all in the same boat, and we're all, experiencing this very surreal and unsettled time together. So there's no need for us to feel alone, although sometimes, that can be the predominant emotion. But also, it's wonderful to set up this opportunity to come together and practice together, to practice mindfulness together. And this is probably one of, the perks that is a side effect of a difficult time, is that actually the sanctuary has been talking for a long time about setting up regular online mindfulness sits, except for it was one of those things that got put on the long finger. So it's really wonderful to be able to do this and to see so many of you, who we know, and so many new people who this might be your first time. So what I'm going to just describe to you what's going to happen for the session. So I'm going to guide a practice, and I've muted everybody's microphone, and that's not because I don't want to hear your beautiful voices, but it's so that when I am guiding the session, if there does happen to be a background sound from your house, for instance, it could be the neighbor's dog is barking or somebody's rang your doorbell, you don't need to get too stressed out about it because we won't be able to hear you. It also helps us maintain that sense of stillness and peace as I'm guiding. That's not to say you're not going to necessarily hear background sounds from my house, because I do live with 3 teenagers. Now, I have gone to each of their bedrooms and said, okay, it's time to be quiet until 8 p.m. So hopefully that the risk of background sounds coming from my house will be reduced. But still, that doesn't mean to say somebody might not randomly ring my doorbell, or the fire alarm doesn't go off for some bizarre reason. I apologize. That usually doesn't happen, so I think we'll be pretty safe. So I'm going to guide this practice for about 25 minutes, and I'm going to read a poem. And I'm not sure if there are people here who were here on Monday. I read a beautiful poem called Pandemic, and it sounds very grim, but it's quite uplifting. And I posted it on our Facebook page. So if you'd like, you can go over to the Facebook and see if you can find it. And today, the poem that I thought that I would use for this session, there's all sorts of Tipperaries in the town, Carlow, County Meath, Dublin, wonderful. Well, for tonight, the poem that I'm going to read is the poem that I'm sure many of you have seen already, but it was written by our own brother Richard. So Brother Richard Hendrick is one of the facilitators at the sanctuary. He also developed and co-created the Warrior Program, which is a program based in mindfulness that is taken out to children. And he wrote a poem called Lockdown, and it went viral this year. Maybe even show of hands, has anybody read it? Has anybody heard it or read it? I see Deirdre, Colum, yeah, Karen, Anne, yeah, it's quite moving. And I think it really shines a positive light on what we're experiencing right now. So I'm going to guide us in practice for about 25 minutes, and then I'll read the poem. And then we'll just come to rest just for a few moments in silence. When I'm done guiding the practice, we'll then have a moment for discussion. So I'll invite you as you feel inspired, if you'd like to make a comment or if you'd like to share something, and it might even be your own poem, or it might be something that you've stumbled across or another resources. By all means, just unmute your microphone when we get to that part, and you can speak as you feel inspired, because it's really wonderful to hear everybody's voice and to see you all. Before I get started, are there any questions? And you can unmute and just go ahead and ask. No? Okay. So I'm going to begin now. I've muted everyone's microphone. There might still be sounds. There might still be people joining in at the last minute, and I'll try to mute those microphones as best as I can. Um, and yeah, let's sit. Okay. So perhaps we'd like to begin with just taking a moment to place our bodies, to finding a posture that's really going to reflect the energy that we'd like to bring to this practice. So finding a posture that is upright and strong, and dignified. But at the same time, soft and open, maybe even kind. So we're finding a posture that will reflect our intention for this practice. So just taking a moment to set an intention. And we may have a collective intention to practice together in community. To come to stillness, to rest. Or you may have your own personal intention that you'd like to set. So just dropping in this question of what is my intention for this practice? Really seeing if we can drop in that question without searching for an answer. Just witnessing and allowing whatever it is that bubbles up in response. What is my intention? And then dropping in a second question. So if this is my intention, why is this important to me? How might practicing in community be helpful, not only for myself, but for all those around me? What is my motivation? And then allowing these questions to fade and just rest for a while and turning the attention to the breath. Seeing if we can touch in with what it feels like to breathe. So again, we're not trying to think about the breath. We're trying to really sense into the flow of each in-breath and out-breath. Maybe even following the full path of each breath as it enters the body and as it exits. Noticing where it is in the body that you can feel the breath most strongly. And it might be a very particular place. It might be the tip of the nose or the mouth. Or maybe it's a more general movement of the shoulders, or the chest, or the tummy. And touching in with the rhythm of the breath. Noticing if the rhythm is telling us anything. So maybe it's tight and shallow, maybe some tension. Or maybe it's long and deep, relaxed. Seeing if there's any small adjustments we might make to finding our own natural, soothing rhythm of breath. So a rhythm that will really bring a sense of ease to the body. And you might already be there, or you might like to just slightly lengthen and deepen the breath, whatever feels okay. Again, we're not trying to force anything. And if the mind is feeling quite distracted, quite pulled, we can introduce an extra support. So a gentle acknowledgement of each breath. With the silent phrase of breathing in, I know that I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I know that I'm breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. So we're resting our attention on this soothing rhythm and the phrase. And thoughts will still come and thoughts will go, and ideas and plans and sensations. This is okay. We're not trying to stop any of this. So we're allowing this to carry on in the background while we're resting our attention on the soothing rhythm and the phrase in the foreground. And as the mind settles, and if it does, and when it does, and again in your own time, when you're ready, we can drop that phrase. Allowing the breath to come back to its natural rhythm. And shifting the focus to the out breath. So again, staying connected to how it feels to let go with each out breath. Noticing what this release feels like in the body. So maybe noticing the shoulders dropping a bit with each out breath. Or even a sense of the body getting a little bit heavier with each out breath. As the body surrenders to the support of the chair, the cushion, the earth, a little bit more with each out breath. And then seeing if the mind can learn from this wise, wise body. And with each out breath, the mind releases thoughts, releases thinking, releases stories, plans. And with each out breath, the mind dropping down a little bit more into the support of the body. Opening up to the sensations in the body. Noticing what you can feel. And it might be subtle, it could be pulsing and itches and tingles, or even numbness. Maybe it's something a bit stronger, points of contact. Feet on the floor, bum on the cushion, hands in lap. Or some area of tightness or tension. Seeing if we can welcome them all, just as they are. Really allowing this out breath to soften around the edges. Giving these sensations space to just simply be. To simply be part of our experience in this moment. No right or wrong. And then shifting our attention out a bit to the space around the body. Getting a sense of the room, the body's position in the room, maybe even a sense of the computer in front of you. A warmth or a coolness. Movement of air on skin. The sounds. And seeing if we can come to rest. So resting in this room, in this space with this alive, breathing body. So there's nothing to do and there's nowhere to go. We don't need to figure anything out. We don't need to get anything right. We're just simply resting. And we'll soon notice that the mind will move off from this resting. We'll move into some distraction, some thought, again, maybe a memory or a fantasy, a sense of boredom, an irritation. We're just noticing this, noticing where it's gone. And then with a kindness and a gentleness, just redirecting the attention back to the breath and this resting body in this space, in this moment. So again, the mind will move off, get caught up, maybe in conversation or a story. It's when we notice this that we're really experiencing a moment of mindfulness, a moment of knowing what's happening while it's happening. We notice we've become lost in distraction. With this kindness and this gentleness, just coming back to the breath and this resting body in this space, in this room, in this moment. So I'm going to read a poem called Lockdown by Brother Richard Hendrick. Yes, there is fear. Yes, there is isolation. Yes, there is panic buying. Yes, there is sickness. Yes, there is even death. But they say that in Wuhan, after so many years of noise, you can hear the birds again. They say that after just a few weeks of quiet, the sky is no longer thick with fumes, but blue and gray and clear. They say that in the streets of Assisi, people are singing to each other across the empty squares, keeping their windows open so that those who are alone may hear the sounds of family around them. They say that a hotel in the west of Ireland is offering free meals and delivery to the housebound. Today, a young woman I know is busy spreading flyers with her number through the neighborhood so that the elders may have someone to call on. Today, churches, synagogues, mosques, and temples are preparing to welcome and shelter the homeless, the sick, the weary. All over the world, people are slowing down and reflecting. All over the world, people are looking at their neighbors in a new way. All over the world, people are waking up to a new reality, to how big we really are, to how little control we really have, to what really matters, to love. So we pray and we remember that yes, there is fear, but there does not have to be hate. Yes, there is isolation, but there does not have to be loneliness. Yes, there is panic buying, but there does not have to be meanness. Yes, there is sickness, but there does not have to be disease of the soul. Yes, there is even death, but there can always be a rebirth of love. Wake to the choices you make as to how to live now. Today, breathe. Listen behind the factory noises of your panic. The birds are singing again. The sky is clearing. Spring is coming. And we are always encompassed by love. Open the windows of your soul, and though you may not be able to touch across the empty square, sing. So as we move into this moment of silence, of stillness, of resting, maybe seeing if we can sit with this opportunity to open the world windows of our soul, and though we may not be able to touch one another, we still may be able to sing, to be together in this aloneness. And as we're coming towards the end of this practice, maybe taking a moment to dedicate the benefits of coming together in community to practicing. Dedicating and sending out these benefits to all those who are lonely, all those who are alone, all those who are tirelessly working on the front lines. Maybe also dedicating these benefits to our own special intentions, to our own practice, to our own well-being, and to the well-being of all those in our lives. And sending the benefits out even further in ever-expanding circles.